What I've heard about them as a couple is that they've been living separate lives for a very long time. So they together, but they living separate.
Now,
maybe she doesn't know.
Beyonce doesn't know.
Yeah, I don't think Beyonce.
Yvette
They're not going to share that with her.
Yvette knows. I got the receipts. I still have the receipts.
Women who are supporting Cassie, who maybe have some stories about you that might feel a bit similar, you need to be put on mute. This is not your time.
Word on the street is that Jason Lee might be sitting on some serious tea about Beyonce and Jay-Z's marriage. And it's allegedly a lot messier than people realize. Rumors are flying that Jason has known about tension between the two for a while, and that he may have even tried to drop subtle hints before the public caught on. If you've been paying attention online, you've probably seen the clips of Jason stirring up drama on his talk show. Months ago, he was throwing shade at Beyonce, saying things that made fans pause and wonder if there was more going on behind the scenes. At one point, Jason even cornered Beyonce in an interview and made a bold claim that he had receipts about her marriage to Jay-Z, unless she could convince her close friend Kelly Rowland to appear on his show. That was a wild moment, and at the time, fans weren't having it. They dragged Jason online for coming after Beyonce, accusing him of clout chasing and trying to use her name for attention. But fast forward to now, and the narrative has completely shifted. With new whispers that Beyonce might actually be preparing to separate from Jay-Z, people are looking back at Jason's comments like, hold on, was he telling the truth this whole time? The internet is buzzing, with fans revisiting old interviews, analyzing body language clips, and connecting dots that might reveal what's really been happening behind those billionaire walls. What's got everyone even more suspicious is how quiet Beyonce has been lately. Normally, when rumors like this hit the internet, her team moves fast to shut them down. But this time, there's only silence. Meanwhile, Jason's been acting unusually confident online, posting cryptic messages that make people think he knows exactly what's about to come out. So now, the question everyone's asking is, was Jason Lee actually warning us? Or is he just capitalizing on another round of wild internet speculation? Either way, it's looking like this story is far from over. And whatever truth is hiding behind those rumors could shake up the entire industry if it ever comes out.
We can take it back a step further. We can go all the way back to when he was trying to get with Aaliyah. The Foxy rumors. This man has a legit history of what he's allegedly doing to Beyonce now. So why is it so far-fetched to y'all to think that he's not doing the same thing to Beyonce? Just because it's Beyonce? I'm gonna need y'all to take y'all stand caps off and put your thinking cap.
Here's how the whole Jason Lee and Beyonce situation really started unraveling. And trust me, it's pettier and messier than people realize. It all goes back to December, when Jason Lee reportedly got big mad after he wasn't invited to Beyonce's highly exclusive Renaissance movie premiere in London. Now, this wasn't just any red carpet event. It was the place to be, packed with major celebrities, influencers, and industry elites. But when Jason's name didn't make the guest list, he took it personally. Beyonce had invited several popular influencers to attend, some of whom didn't even have close connections to her. But Jason? He didn't make the cut. That's when he went public, hopping on camera and calling Beyonce out, claiming she doesn't support Black media and only surrounds herself with a carefully selected inner circle. His frustration was loud and clear, and he wasn't holding anything back. To make matters worse, Jason claimed that he had already dropped a whopping $40,000 on Renaissance World Tour tickets, VIP experiences, and merch for himself and his team, all out of what he thought was genuine support for Beyonce and her brand. He said he was expecting at least some acknowledgement, or at the very least, an invite to the premiere after showing that kind of loyalty. But when the invites went out and his name still wasn't there, he felt snubbed, especially after seeing influencers who, according to him, hadn't supported Beyonce nearly as much, walking the carpet and mingling with her at the after-party. That's when things started to spiral. Jason began posting cryptic messages and making comments that felt more like subtle jabs at Beyonce's team, hinting that the singer was all about image and wasn't as supportive of the Black community as she portrayed. Fans immediately took sides. Some said Jason was being dramatic and entitled, while others agreed that he had a point, that Beyonce might be playing favorites when it comes to who she elevates within media spaces. But the real drama didn't stop there, because what started as a simple snub over a movie invite has now snowballed into something way bigger. with Jason allegedly holding on to even more behind-the-scenes information about Beyoncé and Jay-Z's marriage, and possibly using that as leverage to get her attention.
I think optically, when you don't include other Black leaders in the culture in the fold, I mean, not just take me out of it. The Breakfast Club, I mean, you should have honored and brought more Black. And I spent thousands, over $40,000 in tickets and shared the experience with friends. And I've done a lot, and I'm not even going to say it here because if I did, this internet, Beyonce's good internet, would go.
Now get this. After Jason's little meltdown over not being invited, he didn't just stop at rants or shady posts. Nope. He took things way further on his own talk show. That's when he started dropping hints about some serious dirt he claimed to have on Beyoncé. And when I tell you the studio froze, I mean it. The guests sitting around him were completely stunned, jaws dropped, eyes wide, like they couldn't believe what they were hearing coming out of his mouth. Jason was in full showman mode, teasing the audience like he had the kind of secrets that could shake the BeyHive to its core. He didn't say everything outright, but the way he kept circling around Beyoncé's marriage to Jay-Z, the way he kept smirking and pausing mid-sentence, it was clear he wanted everyone to know that he had something big tucked away. But then, Jason crossed a whole new line. Instead of letting the moment pass, he took it up a notch, basically threatening Beyoncé on air in the most indirect way possible. He said he'd keep quiet about the so-called private information he had, but only if Beyoncé could pull some strings and make Kelly Rowland appear on his show for an exclusive sit-down interview. Now that's a wild move, trying to trade silence for access. Fans watching couldn't believe he said that out loud. Like, who does that? It came across as bold, messy, and maybe even desperate. But at the same time, it sparked major curiosity. People started asking, what kind of secrets does he think he has that are worth leveraging like that? And of course, the BeyHive didn't take it lightly. Social media lit up instantly, calling Jason out for trying to use intimidation tactics on one of the most private and powerful celebrities in the industry. Some folks even said Jason might have just made the biggest mistake of his career, because if there's one thing you don't do, it's come for Beyoncé, especially when your own receipts might not hold up.
I'm going to tell them while Johnny puts a beep, so you'll never know what it is, but I want you to see their reactions. Ooh. And that's where I go back. We're friends. Can you imagine had I put that on Hollywood Law? Oh, there was one more thing. Beat this, Johnny.
Woo!
So that in itself, I think Beyonce could have gave me a...
Maybe she doesn't know.
Beyonce doesn't know.
Yeah, I don't think Beyonce, and they're not going to share that with her.
No. Now, if I get that message to Beyonce, I'm connected. I could get the message to Beyonce. You know that, Yvette, we're trying to book Kelly Rowland right now. Now, if I don't get Kelly Rowland, then it's going to be a problem. Then I'm putting...
Back when Jason first went off on his little tirade, most fans didn't take him seriously. They brushed it off, saying he was just bitter, jealous, and chasing clout because Beyoncé didn't give him the time of day. Nobody believed he actually had any real tea about her or Jay-Z. It was just another dramatic Jason Lee moment, at least that's what everyone thought. But fast forward to right now, and suddenly, the rumor mill is on fire. Social media is flooded with whispers that Beyoncé might actually be ready to split from Jay-Z, and fans can't help but connect the dots. They're revisiting Jason's old rants, rewatching those shady clips, and asking, wait, was this the tea he was hinting at all along? And for anyone confused about where all this divorce talk even started, let's break it down. Jay-Z has already gone on record admitting he cheated on Beyoncé years ago, something the world learned through their music and Lemonade's raw storytelling. But that wasn't the end of the drama. Over the years, Jay has been linked to several women, from industry insiders to up-and-coming artists, and each time, the rumors only added more cracks to their power couple image. Now, though, the situation has taken an even darker turn. According to insiders, Beyoncé allegedly found out about some shady business deals Jay was involved in with none other than Diddy. And that's what supposedly pushed her over the edge. Word is, she was blindsided, completely unaware of just how deep Jay's connections with Diddy ran, especially given the chaos surrounding Diddy's recent scandals. Everyone knows that Jay-Z and Diddy were tight for decades. Practically like brothers, they supported each other publicly, collaborated behind the scenes, and even spoke about their bond like family. In one interview, Diddy even bragged that only 2 people in the world get to call him Sean. His mom and Jay-Z. That statement was meant to show loyalty, but now it feels ominous. Because when Diddy said that, he already knew Cassie was preparing to file that explosive lawsuit. Her lawyers later revealed that Diddy had allegedly been trying to cut private deals with her for years, reportedly offering millions to keep her quiet. So when Diddy name-dropped Jay-Z in that interview, People are now wondering if it was really just casual talk or if it was a strategic warning. Almost like he was saying, "Don't cross me. If I go down, I'm taking you with me." And it gets even messier. Behind the scenes, there are dark whispers that Jay and Diddy have more in common than people think, especially when it comes to how they treat women. Industry insiders have been dropping vague hints for months, but things got louder when Jaguar Wright, a longtime industry whistleblower, came forward with some wild allegations. She claimed that Jay might actually be worse than Diddy, saying the only reason Jay has stayed so quiet during Diddy's scandals isn't loyalty, it's fear. According to Jaguar, Jay knows that if Diddy ever decides to talk, he could expose everything, including the dark side of how Jay allegedly treats Beyonce behind closed doors. At this point, it's no longer just about cheating rumors or business partnerships gone wrong. This is about secrets, power, and survival in an industry built on silence and image. And if even half of what people are whispering is true, Beyonce might be doing everything she can to protect herself before the storm hits.
John Carter is worse.
Uh-oh. Oh, man.
He's smarter. He's patient. He's not sloppy.
Mm-hmm.
This been lining up people he calls friends and stepping to the side while they get hit by the guillotine for 30 years.
But wait, the tea doesn't just stop there. It gets way hotter and a whole lot darker. Jaguar Wright didn't just throw Jay-Z's name into the conversation and walk away. She dug deep into the long-running, uncomfortable rumors that have followed him for years. She started bringing up the kind of allegations that fans have whispered about, but the industry rarely touches. According to Jaguar, Jay-Z has a pattern when it comes to the women he surrounds himself with, particularly younger women in the industry, and that's where things start getting really messy. Over the years, several names have been tossed into the rumor mill: Foxy Brown, Aaliyah, Tahira Marie, and even Rihanna. Now, while nothing has ever been officially confirmed, the timelines and behind-the-scenes stories have always raised eyebrows. Fans haven't forgotten the way these relationships seem to form. Often when these women were just starting their careers, while Jay-Z was already a powerful, established figure in the music business. Jaguar pointed out how those patterns looked suspiciously similar to other predatory behavior we've seen in the industry. And that's when she dropped another bombshell. She reminded everyone about Jay-Z's partnership with R. Kelly back in the early 2000s, when they worked together on albums and went on tour. Even after R. Kelly's disturbing actions were already being whispered about, Jay didn't immediately cut ties. In fact, their collaboration only ended after a major fallout on tour, and not because of moral outrage, but because of business disagreement.
Saw Jay-Z. And he was working with R. Kelly, and they were making so many records together. You know, they made all those records together. They both, Aaliyah, they shared so much in common.
And on top of all that, even Beyonce's own fans have been side-eyeing her relationship with Jay-Z for years. The timeline of how they met and started dating has never quite added up. And honestly, it's been one of those long-standing mysteries that the public just can't stop revisiting. See, Beyonce has always maintained that she was 18 years old when she and Jay first crossed paths, and that they didn't actually start dating until a year later, when she was 19. That's the official story. The one that's been repeated in interviews, documentaries, and fan discussions for years. But once you start looking closer, the math gets messy. In a 2007 interview with Charlie Rose, Jay-Z might have accidentally let the truth slip. When Charlie asked him how long he'd known Beyonce, Jay hesitated for a moment, fumbled his words, and then said something that made everyone do a double take. He admitted that he had known her for about 10 years. That tiny slip-up set off alarms. If you do the math, that means he would have met her around 1997, when Jay was in his late 20s, and Beyonce was just 15 or 16 years old. After that interview, fans immediately started connecting dots, pulling up old photos, timelines, and early Destiny's Child interviews. Some pointed out how Beyonce was still in her teen years when Jay was already a massive name in hip-hop, surrounded by adults in an entirely different world. The age gap and the possible early connection had people questioning whether their relationship really began as innocently as it was portrayed. And once that seed of doubt was planted, it never really went away. Over the years, many fans have admitted that no matter how glamorous Jay and Bey look together, something about their origin story still feels off. It's not just the numbers. It's the way the industry seemed to normalize the pairing without ever questioning when or how it really started. Even today, people bring up that old clip, calling it one of Jay-Z's biggest slip-ups. Because in a world where every word and image is carefully managed, that one nervous moment revealed more than he probably intended. It made people start wondering, if he wasn't being honest about when they met, what else about their relationship has been hidden all these years?
Wow, a long time.
How long? 10 years?
However long she's been recording. That's when I met her.
Well, don't you remember how long it was?
Yeah, when I met her. I mean,
Was it 5 years ago? Was it?
I met her 10 years ago.
But did you say to yourself at that time, wow?
That's a fantastic talent.
Was that what you said?
Yeah.
So, when you sit down and actually do the math, that little slip-up from Jay-Z changes everything. If he really met Beyoncé around 1997, that would have made her just 15 or 16 years old, still a teenage girl at the very start of her career, while Jay was already a 28-year-old man and a full-fledged rap mogul. That age gap alone has always made people uneasy. But now that the conversation around power dynamics in the music industry is louder than ever, fans are going back and looking at it with fresh eyes. And the deeper people dig, the messier it gets. Because according to long-standing rumors, Beyoncé wasn't the first young artist Jay allegedly showed interest in. Before her, there were whispers that he had gotten uncomfortably close to Foxy Brown when she was still in her mid-teens. Allegedly, Jay promised to turn her into a star, a move that, at the time, people framed as mentorship. But looking back, fans are saying it now looks way more like grooming than guidance. It's unsettlingly similar to the kind of situations we've seen play out with other powerful men in the industry. In fact, a lot of people online are drawing comparisons to Diddy and Cassie. Diddy was 36 when he started dating Cassie, who was just 19. Fans say both relationships have that same uncomfortable energy. An older, influential man stepping into the life of a much younger woman and shaping her career, her image, and eventually her identity. But the conversation doesn't stop there, because there's another layer that's been quietly bubbling under the surface for years. Some insiders have claimed that Jay's control over Beyoncé extends far beyond business and image. One of the loudest voices pushing this claim is a man who calls himself Uncle Ron, a supposed ex-bodyguard who worked with Beyoncé and Jay during the early years of their relationship. According to him, Jay-Z is the one who calls all the shots, both professionally and personally. He's alleged that Jay is the one who keeps Beyoncé in line, manipulating situations to make sure she stays dependent on him, whether emotionally, financially, or even chemically. Uncle Ron went as far as to claim that Jay was the one who allegedly introduced Beyoncé to certain substances, saying it was part of maintaining control and keeping her compliant as her fame skyrocketed.
Yeah, Beyonce's on. She's been on them for a long time, and you keep her that way.
And Jaguar didn't hold back at all. She went straight for the jugular with her claims. According to her, Beyoncé isn't just unhappy, she's trapped. Jaguar painted a picture of a woman who may appear powerful, rich, and in control on the outside, but who's actually living like a prisoner in a gilded cage behind closed doors. She described Beyoncé's life as one filled with luxury, perfection, and image control, the kind of fantasy most people dream about, but said that underneath it all, there's no real freedom. Every move Beyoncé makes, every post, every performance, even her public silence, Jaguar claims, is calculated and controlled by the people around her. Especially Jay-Z. Jaguar said that Beyoncé's world is built to look perfect but feel suffocating. She compared it to a beautiful mansion with locked doors, stunning from the outside but cold and isolating within. According to her, Beyoncé's fame has become a golden cage, one that looks like success but functions like control, and she insists Jay-Z is the one holding the key. It's a chilling image when you think about it. One of the most powerful and admired women in entertainment possibly living under invisible restraints, forced to play the role of perfection while sacrificing her peace. Fans who've followed Beyoncé for years have even pointed out how she's become more private and distant over time, rarely speaking directly to the public anymore. Some believe that's a sign she's protecting her peace, but others, especially after Jaguar's claims, wonder if it's because she can't speak freely at all. And the more these rumors spread, the more people are starting to view Beyoncé's carefully crafted silence not as mystery, but as a cry for help wrapped in perfection.
Free Britney. Y'all need to be doing a campaign that say free Beyonce.
Beyonce is free.
She is a prisoner in a guilty case.
But here's the twist that really sent the internet into chaos. The divorce rumors didn't just come from whispers or sources close to the couple. They exploded after Jay-Z's viral Grammy speech, the one that was supposed to be a proud husband moment, but ended up sparking a whole new wave of speculation. Jay took the stage to call out the Grammys for never giving Beyoncé that long-overdue Album of the Year trophy, despite her being one of the most awarded artists in their history. At first, fans were cheering him on, saying, "That's right, stand up for your woman." It looked like the ultimate power move, Jay publicly defending Beyoncé's legacy. But sharp-eyed viewers noticed something off. While Jay was up there giving his speech, Beyoncé's expression didn't match the tone at all. She wasn't smiling or teary-eyed. She looked tense, almost detached. Some said she looked embarrassed, like she wanted him to stop talking. Others said she looked annoyed, as if something deeper was going on behind the scenes. And then came the line that really threw everyone for a loop. Instead of calling her my wife or Beyoncé, Jay referred to her as this young lady. That single phrase set off a social media storm. Fans flooded X and TikTok with posts like, "Why would he talk about his wife like a stranger?" And that's not a man defending his woman. That's a man trying to reclaim control in public. Some even argued it was symbolic distancing, like Jay was subtly separating himself from her image or reminding the audience who's in charge. Others believe Beyoncé's body language said everything, that she's emotionally done and just playing her role until it's time to step away. And when you line this up with all the whispers, the shady business ties, the resurfaced age gap controversy, and Jaguar Wright's explosive claims, it's not hard to see why fans are convinced the Carters might be standing on shaky ground.
So even by your own metrics, that doesn't work. Think about that. The most Grammys, never won Album of the Year. That doesn't work.
And then comes the part that had everybody scratching their heads. Right after Jay finished his speech, he, Beyoncé, and Blue Ivy quietly dipped out of the Grammys. Now tell me that's not strange, especially since Jay was there to accept his own Global Impact Award. So wait a minute. He respects the Grammys enough to take their award, but at the same time, he's calling them out for being biased against his wife? It just doesn't add up. And what made it even weirder was how he put Beyoncé on the spot in front of millions, only to not even say her name, or call her his wife. Fans couldn't shake off the odd energy. Many said that moment felt eerily similar to when Diddy shouted out Cassie at that event just months before her lawsuit dropped. On top of that, word is Beyoncé's been working harder than ever, launching her hair care line, teasing a new album, and some insiders say it's because she's on a mission to secure her own empire, separate from Jay. The whispers claim she's preparing herself financially before the fallout from Jay's alleged shady ties to Diddy hits the public. And now people are starting to connect the dots. Could the tea Jason Lee hinted about Beyoncé actually be tied to Jay-Z's friendship with Diddy? Especially since Jason made those comments right after Cassie's lawsuit blew up. Fans are shook, saying this whole situation looks messier than a spilled drink at the club. Jason's known for not holding back, and if he really decides to spill everything he knows, it could shake the entire industry. But here's where it gets even trickier. Not everyone sees Beyoncé as the victim. Some believe she's nervous about her own secrets coming out if Jay goes down. At this point, anything could happen. So the question everyone's asking is Beyoncé really ready to file those papers? Or is she too deep in the empire they built together to walk away now?